All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everybody, let's begin with the Lord's Prayer, and then we'll get started. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. All right, we have got a rowdy crowd. There's a lot of people are on already. Which is a little surprising. Got a Sunday doubleheader today. OMG Sunday doubleheader. We're going to begin today. We're going to go for hour and a half to 2 hours here with your acceleration webinar. I'm here today with a couple of special guests. I'll introduce them in just a minute, and then you'll be able to click over to your beginners acceleration and support group. This is this is where Sunday Fun Day happens, and Sunday Fun Day is an all text rapid fire Q&A, and your ringleader is Gregory Ortiz for this. Last week, I don't know what happened last week. It was crazy. 594 comments in the thread, so it's very active. Get your questions answered on PBNs, client getting, pricing, your city guide, and of course you can follow up with the topics from today's event. So that's all things that we're getting started with. Also, I want to point out that we have just started promoting OMG Live Nashville 2014. You can find out about that at omgmachines.com/live.php. That's omgmachines.com/live.php. Recorded a new video for you here, speaking out on what's going to be going on. It's 22 minutes of pure excitement, and there's a classic OMG moment stuffed in there somewhere involving, well, anyways, you can see it for yourself. This is what the golden tickets look like, and they are selling out pretty quick. So there's a little bit of a rundown of what you'll learn, and I might get into this a little bit later today. I'm really excited about this event. I think it's going to be just unbelievable. Last year was amazing, but I think that this year is going to be a whole nother level. And just a little public service announcement: if you've already got your ticket and you haven't booked your hotel room at the Drury Plaza in Franklin, Tennessee, then you're going to want to make sure to do that. You're going to want to make sure to call the hotel if you already have booked, and double check that you're in on the OMG Live room rate, because you get a discount with that. They also give you breakfast and dinner, so it's pretty great. Chris Marshall was teasing me. He said this is the time of year when Mike Long starts talking about how great Whole Foods is and all the good food that there is to eat and all the nice things there are to do in Franklin, Tennessee. And oh, by the way, you can also learn to dominate the search engines. But I think the comfort's important. You go on these trips and stuff like that, and you want to have lots of energy to be on your A game and to be able to go out at night and network and meet new people and so forth. So I think it's important. If you don't, that's fine. So anyways, it is going to be an exciting time. Let's check the question box and see. Yeah, we have a lot of people on, but not a lot of people in the question box. Am I not interesting today? What's going on? Am I getting like a little subtle hint here? Can I get like a little bit of excitement in the question box here? Pat's like one. I guess at some point I sort of deserve that. Dave Keys, hey Dave. Dave Keys is on. That's great. Pip Patton, hey Pip. Pip, I think Pip. Even though we had a dozen people come from all over the world, from Australia, dozens of people from all over the world, I would say that Pip worked the hardest to get to OMG Live Nashville. I'm not going to get into the details of why. Lots of energy now in the question box. Got a Sunday Fun Day from Scott. Oh, this is cool. Dietrich says, excited to hear Jake. Jake? Who's Jake? I don't know if that means Jake. Jake? Is there a Jake on?
Hey, Mike.
This is exciting. We got that's Jake Tanner. And I put out, let me grab that now for you. I put out an email dispatch just a couple days ago talking about this event. And in that email dispatch, I gave you an updated earnings report. Now, Jake, you joined us around 10 months ago. Does that sound about right to you? I was trying to look it up and figure out. I knew it was somewhere around.
It's about 11 months ago, I think.
It's about 11 months. All right. Well, let me pull this up. Let me pull this up for you, and we'll give it a little context. This is not the first time we've heard from Jake. Jake's been having though more and more success, and he's really started to crank the ball out of the park here. So this is the last email dispatch I sent out. And I got this from Jake the other day. We just kind of wound up chatting by happenstance. Jake, you said, I've added another $20,000 per month in billing local clients over the last month. Wow. You know what, Jake? Somehow I missed that over the last month part. But it's,
yeah.
I figured it was like over the last few months since I'd heard from you. But
just in this past month we have, which is we're probably meeting about 3 potential clients a day we have meetings with.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of crazy.
This is going to be exciting. We're going to get into this. You hired an account manager / sales guy and scaling to the next level now. Rented an office in the heart of downtown in my city for my guys to work at. Adding on more services, web design, retargeting, pay-per-clicks, email marketing, and bought a brand new Cadillac. Dude, you know what? People give me thank yous all the time. You are the first person to give me a Cadillac. That is so nice of you. You just
have to pay for shipping and handling.
Yeah. Can everybody thank? Because I think that is extremely generous of Jacob to buy me a Cadillac. And it's just, gosh, I'm kind of overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. But
we didn't say what year or give any pictures.
It's a little Matchbox one. Okay, Jake says it's been a crazy year. Listen, we're going to get into 4 topics today. We've also got Gregory Ortiz. Are you there?
Yes.
All right. Hang me out to dry. That's fine.
I'm here.
Okay, we've got Gregory Ortiz on also, and Gregory will be helping us preview Sunday Fun Day to help you get the most out of that. Are you having a good week?
Who, me? Yeah, I'm having a great week. Thank you.
All right. Gregory he's low talking today because he's a little bit under the weather, but that's okay. So we've got an action-packed event. If you're a little bit new, we actually have a decent number of new people to OMG. What we do on these acceleration webinars is a little bit different. When you go on a coaching office hours webinar with Greg Morrison or with Fletch, it's really mostly Q&A. They might demonstrate 1 or 2 things, but mostly it's Q&A. These acceleration webinars, the idea is to really help you understand where the money's being made right now. Not even 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago, right now exactly. And so much of what we're, OMG is a city on a hill. It's a place where friends come together in Providence, and it was so cool. When I got this amazing earnings report in from Jake, I was like, hey man, can we? I got acceleration webinar coming up, and Jake's just like absolutely on it. Want to jump in on this, and so. We just have such an extraordinary community. It's a friends helping friends situation, and I'm very proud of that. I think it's unique. Jake, I was talking to David Mills last night about the construct of OMG and how it works, and David Mills is the one who designed it, and he's been looking through business books to try to find anybody who has a sort of structure at all like OMG, because OMG is really, it's not built on a hierarchical structure, okay? Most businesses are based on, there's a boss, and then there's, a manager, and then, maybe assistant managers, and then employees under them, and then those people might be outsourcing to other people, and you have a little bit like a military hierarchy. And yet, Jake, you haven't, this is your first acceleration webinar with me, I think. Although I wouldn't even be surprised if it was your second, because I know you've been having success. But yet you feel just comfortable just jumping right in. Why is that?
I think just jumping into this actually is because I started coaching before this. So I actually have worked with Alex Becker and have been writing blog posts out there on SourceWave, things like that. I've been on a decent amount of webinars in the last few months because of the success I've gotten,
That's
actually.
awesome. Now, it was Becker the person, he actually recommended that you join OMG. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, he was one of the reasons that I joined OMG. Actually,
Yeah.
yes.
And again, that's a great example of a friends helping friends situation. Are you going to be in Dallas on the 18th, by the way, for Becker's thing?
No, no, I won't be to that one.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, me and Cotton are going out to Dallas to meet up with Becker. Anyways, my point is that there's really a culture here of friends helping friends, and it's quite an exciting situation. And I want people to realize this because the way OMG is designed is a simple way to kind of understand it. A relatively simple way to understand it is if you imagine that we're doing this both, that me, David, and Greg are doing this both 100% for profit and at exactly the same time, 100% to enjoy these rousing public earnings reports, right? So we're not doing it just for one reason or for the other, but we're doing it 100% for both. Can you write like 100, 100 if you get that idea? If that makes sense to you, just type in 100, 100, and I'll send that to everybody. Um, because I really want you to understand it. It's really something that creates a very different situation for us. We really want to see you have success, and of course we also really want to be successful ourselves. And so that to us is like the perfect mix. And what isn't, notice what isn't included in that. Jake, as you and I are talking right away, you just feel like we're just two guys like talking about money getting. I mean, do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
And you got right on, and Gregor Ortiz was on, and then you and Gregor were talking, and it's just like just guys talking, but it's not like I'm the guru and you're the student. It has nothing to do with that because I'm not a guru. I'm just an underground guy. You're an underground guy. Gregory's an underground guy. We have lots of underground guys and gals, and we're basically here to make money and have fun. Does that? I don't want to put words in your mouth. That's how I feel about it.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. I love just having. To me, these are just normal weekend conversations, and they're great. I love them.
Good, good. All right. Well, listen. That's the first thing. Here are the four topics we're gonna hit upon today. I'm gonna pull up a notepad. And this is gonna be crazy because I have like 57 notepads open, so my Mac is gonna explode with notepads. By the way, if you're not yet a member of the OMG Beginners Acceleration and Support Group, go ahead and you can message me. Let me talk about the procedure for doing that, and then we're gonna get right into things with. And this is going to cause like a lot of bonking on my computer. I guess I could grab headphones. That might help. But anyways, actually, let me just, no, I'm not going to do that. All right. So if you're not already friends with me on Facebook, what you'll do is you'll add me as a friend at facebook.com/Icarus. I had to make a new Facebook account because I have too many friends to accept any more friends requests. And so facebook.com/Icarus. Then once I accept you, then message me and say, please put me in the beginners group or something like that, and I'll put you in the beginners group. I'll be doing a lot of that after this event, of course. While I'm here focused with Jake, I won't be doing that and focused with Gregory and so forth. But that's how to get into the beginners group. Also, if you're new and you haven't gotten the blueprint yet, email me at omg to get the blueprint, and that is quite awesome. A really great accelerator. Now, so that's all of our public service messages for today. I feel like my job is mostly done. Now, all right, Jake. What we talked about in terms of preparing for this event, there's four topics I want to cover with you, and I'm really, really excited to have you here. It's just really something else to have every time we have an OMG or come and really just have breakthrough success is such a joy. And so, one, I want to talk about the foundation of your success. I want to talk about what you did in your first 60 days when you joined us. Now, just so people know, we have a lot of people who joined as absolute bare bones beginners. That's how Gregory Ortiz joined 4 months ago, just total absolute bare bones beginner. Cotton Grammar was a bare bones beginner when he joined us. Most of the people that you see in reports started with us as complete newbies. Sometimes, though, we attract somebody who already has some pieces of the puzzle, maybe even a number of the pieces of the puzzle, and then we try to help them get to the next level. And Jake is probably a little bit more in that category, and he really has started taking things to the absolute next level. Regardless,
yeah, I would say before this, honestly, the year before I joined OMG, I only made about $30,000, and I was only doing internet marketing. So that was, you can see the difference. Probably my agency did $30,000, and then this year we're closer to about $350,000.
What's the difference? 30,000, 350,000. Why are you splitting hairs? Don't you see? It's basically the same thing. 30,000, 350,000. Okay, there's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, it's definitely made a big difference to my life.
Okay. Then that's all the better. And I appreciate you coming out and saying that. So here's the thing: is I want to talk about what you did in your first 60 days, and not so much. Now, I want to distinguish something as I talk about your first 60 days. I'm not talking about frenetic money-getting activities. Like, you may or may not have increased your income in your first 60 days. I'm not really worried about that. I believe that you probably set the stage for the last, for the last 9 months. You've been with us for 11 months now. I believe that you probably set the stage, and I believe this from my experience, that you set the stage for all the success that you've had in your last 9 months with what you did in the first 2 months, with getting into the training and consuming that, getting in on the coaching office hours with Greg, putting up some new sites, building out your PBN, maybe trying some things that worked great, maybe trying some stuff that, crashed and burned. Regardless, I want to talk about that foundation the first 60 days. I know Gregory Ortiz is also, he's in a little bit in a rough shape with his voice and so forth. But I may call upon him a little bit more to round this idea out. And I know that there's, what's that?
I said that's no problem.
Okay, great. He's like, listen to my sexy voice. I'm doing fine. So I want to talk about the foundation, the first 60 days. The second thing I want to talk about is client acquisition. Now, there's a number of ways to make money with OMG. You're going to learn free traffic. You can make money as an affiliate. Selling affiliate products like ClickBank ebooks or Amazon products and stuff like that. There's lots and lots, millions and millions of affiliate products out there that you can sell. 3D television sets and diet supplements, all kinds of different information products. Gold, we have a lot of OMGers that sell gold. So you can do affiliate marketing, CPA, stuff like that. You can sell your own product. We started really getting into that last week when we met with Serena and Alex Gould. But what you can also do is you can have a product that you're selling, and that product is SEO. You can sell SEO to clients, and this is something that Jacob is really starting to take to this top level. He's really starting to break through with this, and so part of what he's doing is client acquisition. And Jacob's meeting with 3 new potential clients per week. Is that what you're saying, or per day?
We're doing 2 to 3 per day. 5 days a week almost.
All right, so there's obviously a lot that he's doing with client acquisition that we can hopefully, get him to bend our ear about. So client acquisition, pricing, critical, pricing, and follow up. You once you land the client and they start sending you paychecks, what are you doing to follow up with them, maybe some insight into what SEO you're doing and so forth. So this is really going to give us a wonderful, very rounded idea of what's going on with Jacob. We have very different kinds of earnings reports here at OMG, and especially with Jacob, like you really are starting, this idea, if you went back 10 years ago, now 10 years ago, you would have been 4. But no, that's not true. Jake's a young guy, though. I'm just teasing him a little bit. He's 24. But if we went back 10 years ago to when you were 14, you probably wouldn't realize this, but the landscape for advertising agencies was very different. It was much, much harder to start a very successful marketing firm or advertising agency. And people who had them, it would just be a big, much bigger, much more clunky thing. You started as a one-man gang, a lot like Greg Morrison or like me or Fletch or whatever. You started really lean and mean, and you're only starting to add people on to help you expand now that you're really growing. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, there is something that we can talk about in client acquisition later that I added a person on, but I wasn't paying them directly, and it really scaled my client acquisition. We can talk about that later.
I bet nobody wants to hear about that. No, I'm joking. People are like, what is it? Don't forget. No, I absolutely agree. Okay, so.
But yes, it did start as the one-man gang for the first few years.
And let me point something else out. People think with My City SEO, I'll give you a sneak preview in the future. People think with My City SEO that you need to be in a town like Nashville or New York City like Gregory is, or Los Angeles or Chicago, St. Louis. Jacob, you live in a small town. By way of comparison to like New York, you live in a small town. Is that true?
Yeah, it's about 250,000 people in my city.
Yeah, so by far not a huge city. And let me ask you this. Do you think that you could still have a lot of success if your city was half the size or even a quarter of the size?
I definitely think we could. I'm surprised. We still have so much more room to grow just in this city, which it didn't hit me until maybe 6 months ago that there's way more potential here than I thought.
Yeah, great. Okay, so let's get started. Take us way back, machine. Okay, it's 11 months ago. You're sitting there, you're thinking, man, I'm making, I'm making 30 grand a year, and this is, good, but I really want to take things to the next level. By the way, just out of curiosity, I know Becker was a major influence on you joining. What were some of the other influences, like reasons why you jumped into OMG?
I think it was just because I've heard so much about it before that. And the other thing was I started an internship with an internet marketing company probably 2 years before that, maybe. It was when you guys first, OMG was a little newer.
Yeah.
And he shared me a lot of info that he learned from OMG. His name was Jonathan Green, and he shared a lot of info with me. And I interned for him, and he shared a lot of stuff from OMG. And I was like, oh man, this is awesome. And then it's kind of cycled back, like I need to buy back into OMG because I need to know what's going on now.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so that was your mindset. You were just getting started. And what did you do as best as you can? Put yourself back in your shoes. So you're sitting there, you got your, you just got your email membership to you. You just logged in. At the time, it was Project X. So now it's Project Juggernaut, but very, very similar. So you first logged in, got to look at things. What were the things that you did as best as you can remember in your first week after joining us in terms of consuming things, maybe trying something new with it? What stood out to you looking back on things?
I remember the very first thing I did was just pull out a new notebook and just started watching as many of the videos as I could. And I remember starting with monetization, like what I should do, if I should do client or affiliate, because I was kind of mixing both before.
Right. I'm going to open up the members area.
And then I decided what am I really going to focus on? And I decided it was going to be client acquisition because I wanted the money up front. I kind of needed the money up front. And so, and I was like, I want clients to pay to build my PBNs and all those things and all that, because I had no money really to invest that time.
So this is
And that's why I
nowadays.
just said, I'm going to go all out.
Yep. And so nowadays, all right, so this is your monetization area where it says deciding on your game plan. Now, just so you know, folks that are just getting started, definitely begin with your Project J orientation page. And there's a video in there by David Mills. I believe
Oh, I probably
that,
did watch that.
yeah. And I believe that you should go through it painstakingly at least 2 or 3 times before moving forward. Or you might go through it once painstakingly, then look at a few other things, but then jump back like maybe a day or 2 later, because David Mills is really a brilliant architect, and what he's created for you here with the orientation is really going to help you. So, okay, so the next thing you did was you're saying to yourself, okay, I want to decide on my game plan. I want to understand how to monetize. We were actually bantering a little bit before this event began. You wanted to check your microphone and everything, make sure everything was working. And you had kind of a fun experience when you were much younger. You're a big video gamer, like I am, like David Mills is, and you'd actually started an internet marketing game forum when you're much younger. And when I say internet marketing, I actually, that's not even a good way of putting it. It's just basically a game forum, where you managed to get a lot of people signed up to the forum. And the problem was it didn't make much money. And
yeah, it was like AdSense, and I was like, oh, I'm affording to pay for like my expensive hosting, and that was it.
yeah. So then suddenly you've created yourself a job to break even. So really, beginning, sometimes one of the best ways of going is beginning with the end in mind and starting to think about how you're going to make money. Now, it's also perfectly valid to start by looking at your SEO training or your over the shoulder series with Greg. That's also a great way to get started. One of the brilliant things about the way that David Mills has designed OMG is we have this idea of vectors, and I actually talk about it a little bit in your ebook. I may actually be able to find a little diagram that I made up for you here. But the main idea with vectors are these kind of forces in our lives that are either pulling in the direction that we want to go in, or else they are kind of in opposition. It's really going to wind up being one of those two, and you're not really typically going to wind up in a situation. I'll kind of show you. This is one kind of vector chart that David Mills made up. I have one that's like a little bit better, but vectors, basically, if we imagine that up is the way that we want to go, let's just imagine that up is the way we want to go. So we might have some vectors that point upwards. For Jake, he had Jonathan Green, who he knew, who kind of pointed him to OMG and was like, okay, that's, you can make some money with this. He might have had a mentor early in his life, someone in his family who pointed him upwards and so forth. But there'll also just be lots of things that are just pulling you in different directions. Somebody might have told you, Jacob, to go and get a master's, a college degree or a master's degree. And somebody else might have told you that you need to go and just get an entry-level job and work your way up. And somebody else might have said, you need to go and be a drug dealer. I don't know. Sorry, not that would actually happen, but I'm just kind of pointing to that there's lots of different directions that we wind up that we wind up getting pulled in. And I want to see if I can. I have a kind of something. Yeah, let me see if I can pull something up for you here to give you an idea of how we ultimately tried to design things for you here at OMG. Give me 1 second here. Nope, that didn't do it at all. Oh, I know where to find this. And this is just directly from Law of Implication, and it's really quite helpful. Law of Implication is the methodology and mental model for success, for results that David Mills invented and has included for you inside of your. Let's see if I can find this here. Perfect. Inside of your members area. So let me pull this up. So this is kind of a vector chart here for you. And the idea when you join OMG, for most people when they join, they've got kind of a few money-getting vectors. You think of these green arrows as money-getting vectors, and then the red arrows are just, other things going on in your life. Some of them may be even negative, and they're just pulling you in all kinds of different directions. And sometimes you get ahead of steam, but it's pretty easy to, get the air let out of your tires. And the first thing that we try to do with OMG when you join, imagine that, 1 is where you start. Number 2 is when you first join. One of the first things that we try to do is add some new vectors and align the current vectors you already have, so everything is going up, right? So you still have some of the distractions, but at least we have more of an upward push, okay? And then with our City on a Hill community, with law of implication, with some of the training inside of your members area, what we try to do is take this eraser and begin to kind of smudge out and erase out and kind of minimize some of the distractions. So now we're just flowing forward. The reason I say this is your members area is very carefully designed. So wherever you start, it's going to pull you forward. It's going to pull you kind of, in a sense, wherever you wind up is the right direction for you. What Jake started with was going to the monetization page. So he went to the monetization lesson page. It looked very similar to this at the time. And this is a newer overview than there would have been at the time when you joined Jake. But it basically says the same thing, which is me explaining what monetization is and the different forms of monetization that we have, primarily affiliate marketing and doing client consulting. And you just wound up probably sucked into these day job killer lessons here, and also very possibly the field training. Did you happen, let me just ask you this, did you happen to watch this Joe Marfolio video series with me and Joe?
Yes,
where we did,
yeah.
what did you think about that series?
I thought that was great. How long ago did you guys do that? Because I somehow, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember. Yeah, this was on right when I joined. So
Yeah.
so that I definitely
And it really jumps right to your mind. Like notice how I was able to kind of spot that and kind of guess that was something that was influential to you.
Yeah, I remember watching all of these.
Yeah.
And definitely seeing how he came to.
Yeah, and the neat thing is now it's kind of full circle because you're doing something pretty similar with me today, live, granted in front of 126 of our closest friends here, but yeah, this was really neat. Joe really took us inside of how he runs his agency, and there's also, by the way, I want to point out this week we have this new reveal from Carrie Duke. Oh, so good. I want to give a shout out to Carrie. Carrie was actually on last week's Sunday Fun Day, and he got really fired up. We were talking about city guide sites, and I'll talk about that a little bit more as we continue today. And Carrie got so fired up by it, and he wanted to contribute back and share, because since he's joined OMG, he's really improved his business and his success as well. And he talks a lot about some keyword stuff in there, so I definitely recommend that. It's a lot of new great reveals in here that we've been having recently. So anyways, so you got inside, it was your first week, Jake, and we're just, again, we're still talking about this foundation, your first 60 days. And so what happened next? All right, so you looked at it and you said, you know what, I think that client consulting is for me. What were some of the next things that you did? What was like the second week? Again, I know this is all kind of roughly speaking, because we're looking back 11 months. By the way,
Yeah.
How different, like, if we were to have Jake on from 11 months ago and then compared to you, like, what are some of the, can you tell us some of the differences between the Jake who joined and the Jake now, just so people can understand?
I probably wouldn't even be able to form complete sentences most of the time. I would just be like, wow, I'm on a webinar with, these guys over at OMG. I would have never thought of that, just to begin with. And then I would have been like, I don't really know what you guys are talking to me for. I wouldn't have the confidence that I do today. I would have just, because I would have been like, I have a couple of clients, they're paying me $500 a month, but nothing that special before. So it's just, and my whole mindset was different now, where before I thought $10,000 a month was going to be huge for me. Or my agency, my one-man agency. I thought that was going to be huge, and now I'm looking at, if I don't do $1 million next year, I'm going to be disappointed. So it's
Wow.
just a huge mindset thing.
Well, now I want to talk to you about that though, and I'm really glad. And one of the things that I do, we're again like here as peers. One of the things that really keeps me and David Mills motivated, and I believe Greg has kind of the same attitude. I always think of. Let me put it this way to you, Jake. If you were to go back 10 years ago, like we said, and grab 14-year-old Jake or 15-year-old Jake, and you were to really describe to him in detail or give him a little documentary video or he were to listen to this earnings report today and hear that you're going to be making this kind of money, working from home, helping people have success, right, in their businesses, helping build their businesses up. What do you think that 15-year-old Jake would have said? Do you think he would have been excited or disappointed?
Oh, he would have been super excited. He would have been like, let's start, this year instead of 4 years from now.
Well, that's great. So what I want you to know is always hold on to that. Okay, because if you keep moving the bar up and up and up in terms of what's acceptable, then what would be disappointing to you, then you're missing out on a lot of the joy of enjoying what you're doing today. And it's actually going to demotivate you. It's actually going to make it so it's harder to hit that $1 million mark next year. It won't make it so it's easier because the more appreciative, remember, I said at the beginning of this event, we do this 100% for profit, 100% for public earnings reports. Well, again, what's not included there is this idea of us continuously raising the bar on things so we just can't enjoy it unless we make so much more profit or get so many more earnings reports. And what that means is when I get new earnings reports in, I relish every one like it's my first. I really did. Like every single time I'm like, wow. Because I go back to 15-year-old Mike and I'm like, guess what? Not only you're going to get to make a bundle of money, but you're going to really help people have success. And I mean this both, when I say an earnings report, that also includes we're mostly at this point involved in helping people have financial success. So that'll include our clients, or a lot of times we'll be involved in doing stuff like selling gold or selling other stuff like that. So I'm thinking of earnings pretty broadly, although OMG is certainly first in my heart, whether that's right or not. So I really want people to remember this idea. And as you're listening to Jake talk about this now, I want you to future pace yourself, because when you do hit that first 10 grand or even blow past that first 10 grand per month, I want you to relish it. I don't want it to become second hat. I mean, I remember, Jake, I remember the first $10,000 I made in a week, and I felt like the weight of the world came off my shoulders. I did. I was like, oh my gosh. And then the next week I made another 10 grand. Wow. I was just like, holy cow. And I've never let go of that feeling, because now at this point I make, a lot. I try not to get into it too much, because I don't know how helpful that is to people, but it might make sometimes $10,000 in a day. Right. But I don't want to let go of that. Like I want to have the full joy of that. And that helps me stay motivated. That helps me keep my edge. It doesn't dull my edge to be appreciative of every, 10 grand that I make, or, even smaller increments. So I just kind of wanted to point that out, because I think you do have such a good attitude about things. And I want you to be able to, I really want you to be able to relish it. Because I think that if we had you on from a year ago even, and you knew that you were going to pump things up to over 300 grand for this year, I think you would have been, turning somersaults.
Yeah, and it's funny because then I reach that point and I'm like, just more hungry.
Yeah.
Not even that, like, doing. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Like this is awesome, but I could do so much more now.
Yeah. And again, I'm not saying that you can't do more. I know
Oh
you
yeah.
will. I think this attitude will help you do more. I think that constantly reminding yourself of, like, because if you talk to 15-year-old Jake and you're like, you're going to have your own 2-bedroom apartment downtown, you're going to have a Cadillac, you're going to get to travel if you want to, and you're going to do this job, you're your own boss. It's not like going to school where people tell you, do this, do that, right? I don't know if a quick little Dragon Age reference, threw that in there for you. but just go do this, go do that. Like you don't have that in your life, and I just really want you to be able to relish it because it's so easy to let that slip away. And because again, if we let that slip away, it will go away, and things will start getting not nice for you. And I want things to be nice for you. It's important to me. And remember, you're around me. I wind up talking to you all the time, and I don't. I want you to be. Just super, super successful. It really matters to me. Okay, well, anyways, so let's jump back in. So you're peeling through the monetization. You're like, okay, I get it. I really want to have an agency. And did you think of yourself as an agency back then, or did you think of yourself as like a freelancer doing SEO? Because right now, I think you think of yourself as an agency, like with an emphasis.
I actually did do an agency because I was reading and trying to learn as many things, and I thought if I can. I always said we whenever I went to talk to people, even though I was like a one-person shop. I'd always say like we can help you out, we can do this for you, we can do that for you. Just because I didn't want people to think that I was too small to be able to handle if a big business did come along.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good mindset point. I really like that. I'd like people to understand the idea that you're an agency. Like if you're doing client consulting, then you're a marketing agency. We want to help people understand who we are. And so if we don't understand who we are, we can't help them understand who we are. So you're an agency. You have that mindset going into it. Very smart. What did you do from there? So it's your first week. You've got your brand new fresh notebook. Very smart to do that. You're writing down notes like crazy. You're going through videos in your day job killer area and in your field reports area. You're writing down notes and you're learning from other OMGers. You're probably, I believe that you're pretty active in the Facebook group at that time. I seem to remember.
Yeah, I was a lot more active in the Facebook group until I got more busy myself, and then I kind of wasn't as active. But
yeah, that's understandable. Well, all the more reason to get back to it. Now, what happened from there? Did you start reaching out more and more to clients? Were there certain client strategies that you learned at that time that made you? And of course, we're going to get focused on client acquisition in a second. We're still in that first 60 days. What happened next? Like once you started watching some of those videos that really convinced you that you wanted to focus on day job killer client consulting, what were the next things that helped you form your foundation?
yeah, so I actually had a couple clients before that were like pretty cheap. It was anywhere from $350 to $500 a month, local website clients. So I had like 3 or 4 of the, I had about 3 of those, I think, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I went straight into, after I decided that's what I really want to focus on, because I was doing affiliate sites and client sites at the time. I was like, I'm going to let my affiliate sites not really go to the side, but I'm going to focus more on my client sites I have right now to do really well for them.
Yep.
And that's when I jumped over to learning more of the SEO stuff and kind of over-the-shoulder training.
Okay, so that's a great mindset. So your thinking is, listen, when I say listen, I'm not asking you to listen or people to listen. I just more meant that I'm imagining I'm you and I'm talking to myself. So I'm Jake, and I'm like, okay, listen, Jake, I've already got clients. Let me start by really pumping up their results, because that way I can point other potential clients to the results of my current clients. I also might get referrals. And let me just use this as a little bit of a laboratory to build up my SEO skills, because if SEO is my product, I better get good at it. Was that kind of your mindset?
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking. And that's when I went through and started. I would watch the over-the-shoulder training videos, take notes, and then go through the video again while they were doing it, and also have my client's website open at the same time and make those like on-page changes, or start doing the off-page linking after I made the on-page changes.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I'm going to open up. Now we have an all-new, huge over-the-shoulder series. Jake didn't have this when he joined, so this is all new for you. And this is on franklintianguide.com, which is our city. We moved over. Back when you joined, we had more of an emphasis on city SEO, which worked just great for you. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, I'm still dominating my city.
Yeah, yep, exactly. I'm aware of that. And what we've done now is we've expanded on it a little bit. We changed it up a little bit. So if I go to Franklin 1O-5tnguide.com. I believe getting started with this is a little bit, even a little bit more powerful. Let me zoom in on things a little bit here. So this is Franklin TN Guide, and this is the Over the Shoulder series site that Greg is sharing with you. And we started with just these two keywords: luxury real estate and fine insurance. And Greg Morrison used extremely cheap PBNs to do this, to help you understand how you could get started much faster. But notice we just added SEO services. Okay, this is more of a biggish site now, and we're going after more keywords. And so by going after SEO services, we're still ranking for SEO. And actually, this site now, immediately after Greg, within days of Greg putting up this SEO services, we actually now rank for Franklin TN SEO very, very quickly. So this is kind of, I want to take what Jake is showing us and make sure that it's current to the information that you guys have right here. Because again, this over-the-shoulder training stuff, you can tell him, Jake, with Greg, it's just nuts being able to see, over Greg's shoulder while he does this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're doing your over-the-shoulder series, and you've got your current client sites up. You're going back and forth between that. Did their sites start performing better?
Yeah, they did perform a lot better, and I actually could start showing some results, within a month or so, to other people or the potential clients too, which is great.
All right, great. And now, did you start building out your PBN at that time, or did you wait?
Yeah, no, I was also building out my PBN at the same time of all that while watching Greg's videos. Yeah.
Excellent. And so now we're rounding towards the end of that first 60 days. What are some of the first things? And again, I don't think that you're thinking about it as a formal 60-day period because it was on and you were going after it. Are there some other things that happened early on that you think influenced your success and helped set the stage for your success?
Man, there's probably more stuff that I'm not really thinking of right now because we're doing so much stuff every day. I'm like forgetting what happened a week ago.
Yeah, I really understand that. Yeah, and looking back and reflecting, now sometimes you'll be able to come up with things, and sometimes you won't. Now, were you attending a lot of the like office hours with Greg at that time?
Yeah. I was also going to office hours, and I was also I was trying to connect and network with other people that were doing the same thing as me, or trying to do the same thing as me. I was really open to friendly competition, I guess you could say.
So, were there some people that helped you, like that you think that you had a mutually beneficial relationship inside of OMG with?
Yeah, there was people that I would bounce ideas off of and things like that. Like even Brian Magnosi's in my city too, and I just reached out to him like, hey, what's going on? We should chat sometime. We just would Facebook message chat and some things like that every once in a while too.
So this is something that's very interesting. Brian Magnosi, for those of you who don't know, is also extremely successful. Both of you live in a relatively small town, right? I mean, again, the whole outer reaches of it is 250,000 people, and yet you guys are both killing it. I mean, I'll tell you this, guys. Brian's making like upwards of $50,000 a month. All right. Jake is also making tens of thousands of dollars a month. If you took $360,000 in a year and you chopped it up by 12, then you're looking at like $30,000 a month on average, maybe even more now and a little bit less earlier. So you might even be more than $30,000 a month. I really hope that that's an aha moment, because do you think that you did worse because Brian was in your city, or almost is it possible that you did better because of it?
Yeah, I definitely didn't do worse because he was in the city. I definitely think it was great just bouncing ideas off each other and stuff. And now what's funny is we actually have some clients in the same keywords. So we'll always be going back and forth between number 1 and 2, which is kind of a funny thing, but there's no way around that sometimes.
Yeah,
but it was never like.
I mean, the neat thing is you're just both making money. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah. So that's the thing is there was never. What was great is once Brian had that client in that niche, it was like, well, I could talk to the other people in that niche without having to worry about Brian also pitching them or anything like that.
That's fun.
But the big thing was that we could talk about some of the strategies that we're using openly without, I never really worried about someone going out and like taking anything from me.
Yeah. Yeah. This idea that there's, because if somebody's like looking right now, there's so much opportunity out there in this client. Like it's freakish. Like when you start like really peeling back the layers of it.
I won't even tell you the size of the SEO company that's also in our city.
Oh yeah,
we have an SEO company in our city that's doing $35 million a year right now. They went from 40 to 120 employees just doing SEO.
Yeah,
in Syracuse, which is crazy.
And that's not smashing you. That's not taking you out. That's not like you're not like shaking your fist at them. They probably don't hurt you at all.
No, we actually just had a meeting with them the other week, and we're doing pay-per-click for one of their clients while they're doing SEO. So that there's actually some synergy with that too, because they don't do any pay-per-click. So
yeah, so really, give me a number one, if anything that as we talked about this foundation, if something kind of clicked for you a little bit that you appreciate, Jake sharing with you, because I think it was really cool to talk about his foundation. And Jake, I know you're hip to go to webinars so you can see in the question box. We just have a lot of number ones. If you have specific questions for Jake, you can you can also type them into the question box, and we'll take a look at those as time goes on. Now let's swing into client acquisition. Let's bring it forward to today, October. We're here early October 2014. What are you doing now to acquire clients? Now we know that you're ranking for your city SEO, so that's an aspect of it, and everybody should do that. And really, by the way, recognize that both Brian and Jake are on page one for city SEO, and it's fine. They both get calls, and some people like Brian's style better, some people like Jake's style better, and some people don't like either of them, and some people like both of them. But it's just fine. Okay, there's no problem in the world. What are some other things that you're doing to acquire clients that you can let people know about?
Yeah, so there's a number of things that we're doing with clients. I guess the biggest thing that really hit a breakthrough was I realized at one point that I wasn't the best salesperson. I realized that I was having a decent amount of meetings and not so many closes, and that's when it kind of hit me like I need to learn how to sell better, or I need someone else to help me sell. And that's when I kind of thought of what's the best way I could have someone come in and help me sell. And I came up with this idea. Who else is pitching these clients that isn't doing anything with internet marketing? And so it actually came to me that there's a ton of salespeople in my city pitching TV and radio ads, but nothing to do with internet marketing.
Yep.
So I actually started emailing sales guys that were selling TV and radio ads and offering them a 20% commission. I didn't do it up front, but I just said, hey, can we talk? I think there could be a synergy between us. Let's meet up sometime, that kind of thing. And also going to networking events and meeting these sales guys and asking them to talk later on because I was maybe interested in what they were doing.
Yeah.
And that's where I would meet with them in person and then eventually see if it would be a good fit for them to sell my services side by side with those people for like a 20% commission.
And the neat thing for them is not only do they have the potential of getting that 20% commission, but it lets them present a more rounded pitch. Like somebody who buys SEO from them is actually more likely to buy radio and TV from them, not less.
And yes, that 20% was recurring. Someone just asked that in the question box. It is a recurring commission.
Yeah.
But I would always build in that 20% into my pricing, if that made sense.
Yeah. So
I'd always add 20% on top of the price to make sure I could afford to pay those people.
So how much? So you probably have a pretty good idea. How much of your current business has that gotten you?
That last whole $20,000 I added on last month was all from sales guys that I did this with. So
this is basically a worthless tactic that doesn't work.
Yeah, this is. I don't know why I do
it. Okay, great. So you added 20,000, and then that's no small beans for that salesperson. He's getting $4,000 per month. So he's like, score.
Yeah, that's added on top of, like you said, I have a lot, I have a decent amount now. We weren't doing web design 2 months ago. In September, we did like five or six, we did like 6 websites in September. And 2 months ago, we weren't even doing web design. And that's because website design was a big synergy between people doing radio and TV ads.
Nice.
Because they're always like, if we're pushing people to this new website on TV, or if we're pushing people to go to our website on radio, it needs to be a good website. So that was a lot easier to sell. And then transitioning that, once you build a website, into digital marketing was another easier transition.
Now, how did you learn your web? Did you already know web design when you came in, or was that new?
I don't do any of my web design at all. That's all outsourced too. I have a team now that just does web design. I pay about $800 to get a really nice web design. My current website right now cost me $800, and I would charge people, $2,500 to $3,500 for the website.
Great. And Brian Magnuson does something very similar. You can
Yes.
in your members area, if you want really great training, I want to tip my hat to Armando. Armando gave us a wonderful reveal on web design. First of all, if we click into the monetization page, in the field training, no, in the day job killer area, sorry, in the day job killer area, right here with Brian Magnosi, he actually talks a lot about web design. Brian sells a lot of web design in high dollar, so a lot of good lessons on it from there. And also going to the Project J area here. Where's the one with Armando? That actually might be in field reports. All right, so we have the web design walkthrough here. That can help you for sure. It shows you how I do web design. I also talk about it inside of your over-the-shoulder series with Greg. Me and Greg are doing that. But I think it's probably with Armando, I think it's probably in the monetization page, probably in the field training. Yeah, it's right here with Armando on web design, using theme forest and web design. And again, same kind of idea, spending $200 to $500 or $800 on a site that you're charging $2,500 or $3,000 for, and it's a nice kick of cash, and you're much more likely to acquire the client. Remember, guys, you can also go for, if we go to Nashville SEO, we rank for web design. Right here, we rank for web design. Sorry, of course, I'm putting on the website, but if you go to Google and go for Nashville web design, we're, I think, anywhere between number 1 and number 3 typically for that. Sometimes they dip down a little bit, but that's something else. And you talked about pay-per-clicks as well. And so let's go. And in doing this, if you're watching this and you're new and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much in the members area. Did you ever feel overwhelmed by how much stuff was inside of NHB when you joined? Jake?
I think in the very beginning, before I watched any videos at all, and I started clicking through, I was like, oh man, where do I start? And then I was like, wait, well, I just need to watch the beginner video and do those kind of things. And then once I did that, I was perfectly fine.
Great. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that, because I want folks to know that every single person who's joined OMG and logged into the members area felt overwhelmed, all of them. And overwhelm is the feeling of your brain getting stronger. So in the same way, every single person who's got a ripped physique from doing bodybuilding, their muscles burn as they worked out. Your brain will burn as you work out, and it's a good feeling. Learning to embrace overwhelm is a key skill. Now, you're talking about doing paid advertising, and I want to point out that Mike Swanson has this wonderful pay-per-click module for folks right here, and it's incredible. I've used this with our clients, and it's really going to give you an edge. Also, Hung Lee has a module on using Facebook to get leads for your SEO consulting business, but the same technique, you can potentially use it for your clients to help them do Facebook advertising as well. So I want to continue to point these things out to people. So are there other tips on client getting that you're using? Now, you were actually able to build up quite a head of steam with your income before you did this.
Yeah, so
You
so I wasn't like a horrible salesperson. Like before I even got any salespeople on board, I was doing about 15,000 a month.
15,000 a month.
Before we even went to the salesperson method, which I would have did the salesperson method earlier if I, knew it was going to work that well.
Now, how did
But
you?
the, but the
Let's talk
big
about
thing,
that 15,000 because that was kind of the golden start for you. What did you do to get that $15,000 worth of leads? Now, certainly part of that was your SEO site. Were there other things that you were doing to get clients?
yeah. So there was another big thing that I was doing that worked extremely well, and I was actually offering certain free services to business associations around my city. So that would be like the Syracuse Chamber of Commerce. It would be like local small businesses association. There's probably like 5 or 6 of them. I would do some free stuff for, and it was really really easy free stuff. Like one I made a mobile website for. It took me like an hour.
Yeah.
Um,
So you
and
made a
then they
mobile
let me
website
join.
for the association itself.
Yeah, so like they would let me join for free instead of paying that fee, which I didn't really have the money to like pay those yearly fees for each of these places.
Yeah.
So I would do that first, and then what I would do is I would say, look, I'm doing this awesome seminar or talk on where the web is going. Can you guys put me up in a place and mail it to all your members?
Great.
And that's what I would do. So I called it Where the Web is Going, and I would do I just set like an hour time, and they actually put me up in a place and sent it to, they emailed it and put it on all their social media sites
So
to all their members to
so you
sign
made
up.
a video for them?
No, I did a live like talk for an hour.
Oh wow. And
And they would put me up in a place.
go ahead.
They would put me up in a place and stuff like this. First person I did it with was the Syracuse Chamber of Commerce. They call it Center State CEO. And I made them a mobile website, so they did that for them for free. And I said, if I can be a member and I want to do this talk on where the web is going, and I think it'd really benefit your members. And those kind of associations are always looking for that kind of stuff. Anything that would benefit their members, they're looking for a reason why people are paying their fees.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So you're providing content for them.
yeah. And I was talking about where the web is going. We'll talk about internet marketing, all that great stuff. I didn't include any pitch whatsoever. There was no pitch in this hour talk. It was just literally where the web is going, why you need a mobile site, why you need to look at local SEO,
Why
all
do you
those
need
kind of things.
why do you need a mobile site?
So we would talk, well, I actually would show them how many people were looking at some of our clients' sites, or not even our client sites. I would take stats from the web on how maybe 20 to 40% of their visitors may be from a mobile, device.
Yeah.
So I'd show that kind of thing.
And just so everybody knows, we have sites that get 60% mobile.
Yeah. Some are higher. It really depends on the niche you're in.
Yeah, it depends on the niche. I'll just let you know, like health and fitness stuff. Oftentimes 60%. It's crazy. Restaurants, stuff that people do when they're out on the go. Hotel.
Taxi services.
Now, there's other things that are much more likely, like more like what Jake's saying, like more like 20% and 15%. Lawyer, legal stuff. A lot of that stuff is more people want to do when they're home and focused, and so it's a little bit less on the mobile. Now, all of the web design techniques that we teach you inside of OMG, they're all responsive themes, and that means that it'll automatically generate a good-looking mobile site when you create it. I'm going to answer some quick questions here. Chris says, was that 15,000 or 50,000 a month? We're talking about the first 15,000 that Jake made. He's now getting much closer to that $50,000 per month mark. Casey said, is that web template in the members area? I'm new and still with a day job, don't have much time. Love blog implication series. Yes, it's amazing. Casey, which template are you talking about, though? Renee says, how did you get salespeople? Ooh, brilliant question, Renee. Love it. I love this question. Renee, do you have a microphone so I can let you actually ask this question live? Let me know. Oh, Chris Marshall's on. Hey, Chris. Great to see you. I actually mentioned you earlier. So Renee, let me know if you have a microphone. Otherwise, I'll ask your question for you. You don't. She doesn't have a microphone. Okay. Renee says, how did you get salespeople up to speed about selling your services? That's a great question.
Yeah, so I actually would I actually would meet with that person. So we would actually pick like a Saturday or Sunday. I would go and they would, most people that are good at sales, they know exactly what they need to sell to someone. So they would directly usually come with me. I would show them what I do and how I could benefit a business. And then they would usually ask me the questions and information they needed to be able to pitch it. So we would sit down for an afternoon and actually go through all that stuff.
And how many people, can you walk us through one
That makes
specific
sense.
person? Can you walk us through, you don't have to tell us their name, but like one specific person, can you walk us through the whole relationship? So you looked up, a radio or a TV show to figure out who does their sales. Like, how did you meet them? Like, can you kind of walk us through, that whole story, like one whole distinct story in pretty good detail?
Yeah, so one of my top guys I actually met, I met from doing, it was actually just a networking event. And he was like, yeah, I'm a TV sales guy. And I was like, oh, I sell SEO products, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. So I ended up, he was a little bit younger too. Well, younger in the TV sales area. He was like 28. And he was actually one of the managers there at the TV sales station. And so I brought him out to lunch one time, and then we chatted about it and what he was doing and all that stuff. And then after that, he called me back up and was like, I think there's something we could work out. Our station doesn't offer SEO, but I might be able to sell that on the side for you guys. So that's where the idea came about, was first with him. And he came to me, and then one weekend we came and he sat down and he was like, what's all the things that you can do for your clients? Can you do web design? Can you do SEO? Can you do these things that we don't offer? And so I started showing him what it was that I did, and it was kind of like a working thing. It took him a few weeks to get up to speed. And I actually brought him to two of my sales meetings to work with me and see how I talked about it, so he could learn a lot more about what he was doing also. I forgot about that point. So I would bring them to a couple sales meetings in the beginning so that they could see, here's what I did, here's how I talked about it.
Yeah. And remember, you could just record, if you don't bring that person along, you could just turn on your voice recorder, or your video player on your iPhone or whatever, and do it that way.
Yeah, and that's kind of, it was kind of like a working thing. Like, none of your guys are going to be up to speed if you do this method. They're not going to be up to speed within the first week even.
Yeah.
It's going to take them a little bit of time, a couple weeks to the first month
Yeah.
usually. And then they'll get a lot better at it, because I would go on a couple things with guys now and stuff like that. Like I said, a couple sales calls I would go on with them.
Yeah.
And see how they're pitching and that kind of stuff. And even now there's some things that I would correct. What they were talking about. Like, one of my guys was just talking about like a lot of backlinking. He was like talking about, like, we're going to do this kind of backlinking and that kind of backlinking. And I was like, you shouldn't even talk about backlinking in your sales pitch when I went and talked to him. So there is always an ongoing, keeping in touch and helping these guys. But it's definitely saved tons of my time. I would just be meeting with clients all day if I didn't have people doing this for me.
Yeah, and I want to, now's a perfect time for me to bring up something that I said later on in this dispatch I sent out a couple days ago. So I put, listen, pre-med students vie for a 1 in 10 chance of getting the honor, and it is an honor, of doing 11 years of school, paying $300,000. Also, they can work a stressful 60-hour work week to make around $20,000 a month. Okay, that's generally the deal that doctors get. Sometimes 30, could be a bit more if you're like a highly paid plastic surgeon or something like that. I really think it's so important to keep that front and center in your mind when you're going after this OMG income, because this is the shortcut. But there is no shortcutting the shortcut. If you shortcut the shortcut, now you're cutting corners. Like now you're like actually hurting yourself. You're actually at that point taking yourself backwards. So having the discipline and patience to build out a relationship, and at this point, you probably significantly care about some of these guys that are working with you and doing these sales. Like, you care to see them have more success. You probably enjoy sending them their monthly checks for because you know that that's going to motivate them.
Oh yeah, yeah, completely. It's great. One of the guys we are back and forth texting all the time because he's my biggest guy. So
All right, great.
he's actually switching over to doing this full time for me soon. So
okay, great.
Getting out of TV sales.
Oh yeah, because he's probably starting to make more money with you than he is with them.
Yeah, it's going that direction now.
That's really cool. So you're becoming a day job killer yourself.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about it like that, but yes.
Because I want to point this out. I'm trying to give people a few different angles on understanding this. This is for real. This is really happening. Like your life is going on, and all around you, there are people walking around who need products and services in your hometown and around the world, and they're going to search, and the search results are going to give them something. And you can help bring better businesses and do a better job of describing those businesses to their cell phones, to their computers. You can do SEO for companies in your area. And in doing SEO for those companies in your area, you are improving those businesses' chances of success. You are making their marketing more efficient so they can focus more on enjoying their life and on providing a better experience for their customers. I'll pull something up here. Actually, I have to.
Yeah, there's a ton of questions going through too that I can answer some after.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to these. By the way, if you're just having an absolutely fabulous time right now, please say thank you, Jake, because I think that Jake is just doing a wonderful job. I think this is like an extraordinarily wonderful reveal. And he's just volunteering his time, his Sunday. He's not getting paid for this. He's just jumping on with us. And I say he's not getting paid, but he's paying it forward right now. This is Jake paying it forward and helping you have more success just out of the goodness of his heart. Paul is asking, where do you find these salespeople?
Yeah, so another way, and if you go to any kind of business networking event and there's 30 people there, I guarantee you 10 of them are going to be sales guys, most likely.
Right.
That's a big way to find these guys. Meet with them at networking events. But another way is you can literally go to any of your local TV station websites, and usually at the bottom, they will have who is the marketing company or digital company behind them, or kind of TV company behind them. There's usually a parent sales company that's behind that local TV station. And you can usually go to their website and you can find the direct emails and names of all their salespeople right on those websites.
All right, great. And also, if you haven't yet watched that Joe Marfolio series, he really gets into the whole dynamic behind these chambers of commerces and BNIs and so forth. And that's in your, and that's just extremely impactful. I'm still trying to find, sorry, I'm trying to pull something up on my Google Drive. I want to, give me a second here. See if I can find this for you. I think this is going to be a little bit eye-opening. Here we go. Now, how many people remember the Nashville eyelash extension example that we've given you? The Nashville eyelash. Give me the number one if you remember that and if you've seen it. So if you search Google for eyelashes extensions Nashville, then whoops. All right, so this site comes up first, but let me pull it up in the Google search engines here. So this number one ranked site, this is our client, and actually this is our client, Ashley. And I want to point out what's going on. I wound up talking to her a bit about her numbers. Now, we started doing SEO for Ashley right around May, and hit page one in May, and then we were number one in June. I want to show you, this is what her home business looks like now. And it's extraordinarily insightful, I believe. And you getting to see this stuff can just change your life, like what you're seeing right now. This is just a very small side business that she's doing from her home. She doesn't have a boutique that she's paying rent for. Her costs are very low, but she had to acquire clients. And what she was doing was she was working very hard on Facebook, Craigslist, and Instagram to try to get new customers, also face-to-face sales and so forth. And that was for these months right here. And her sales were up and down: 1,000 in January, 2,300 in February, 1,400 in March, 1,900 in April, 2,500 in May. So kind of inconsistent. Now, she completely stopped doing all those other side forms of advertising as soon as we started, getting her number one in the real Google search engines. Jake, are you seeing these numbers here once she hit number one?
Yeah, it's great. It just reminded me of a client I had that's
Go for it.
in my mind first.
Yeah.
I had a limo client, actually, in one of the biggest cities for limos in the country. You can guess what that one is. And he was number one or number two for all his main keywords. Some of these keywords were getting 1,200 searches a month. We were getting him, it was insane. During the peak season, it was about 15 to 18 leads a day he was getting.
Wow.
It was just insane. It was crazy. It was like one of my biggest success stories that we had. He actually bought a whole new warehouse to store his limos because of us. It was crazy.
Wow. That's it.
Yeah. So he ended up increasing his fleet and buying a new warehouse and everything. It was insane.
Yeah. Elliot's asking, what's the best type of business to target when you first start out? When you look at this, there's something about this Nashville eyelashes example that I think really tells the story. My point is, they all need your help, all of them, like whether they know it or not. And that doesn't mean that you should try to convince somebody who doesn't want your help. But the reality is, these kinds of, because this is her life. This is actually like she does this business when her son is sleeping, period. She is never doing eyelash extensions when he is awake. So she's able to be a full-time mom to him, work from home, and this is the difference in her life. And this is such a nice example because you can just see so clearly the difference in her level of happiness in her life. Also, like if she's sitting around trying to get clients, then she's not doing her business, right? Now, Jake gave you a more dramatic example, and I think that the Buffalo limo service is more dramatic, okay? Now, somebody's asking me, I think it was Elliot, what should I get started with? If you're not sure, I would go either for client consulting or for multiple streams of income. And that's one of the great things about the way that we set up your city guide site. If you're just getting started, I would start by building a city guide site or a city life site or city spotlight site. That could be another good name, city spotlight, city live site. And look, we're just going after different markets here, okay? And remember, you can do both client consulting from these sites, and you can do CPA offers. Speaking of CPA offers, CPA is when you put up an opt-in box or a phone number for people to call, and it's a redirect phone number, and you get paid per call. And if you don't know what that is, that's fine, because we've got training on it in your OMG members area. Right here, in the monetization area, Joe Marfolio made this wonderful pay-per-lead CPA training that can show you how to use local keywords to get CPA clients. And in addition to that, if we click in on the monetization lessons page and go to the field training page, then we have a wonderful reveal from September 30th, just last week, from Kerry Duke on how Kerry's doing this. And he gets into the stats of a $15,000 per year local CPA site. And he has several sites like this and shows about keyword research for it, how to do keyword research, how to make the SEO very easy. Again, OMG is a city on a hill. It's a place where friends come together in Providence. Now, Jake,
I was just thinking we got really sidetracked and never finished talking about how else I was getting the clients there.
Oh yeah, do you have more client acquisition tactics?
Well, like I was talking about with the big one where we had these meetings with the Chamber of Commerce. What I would do is at the end, I would just ask if anyone wants to meet up. You guys can, come chat with me. I'll give you a free consultation for your business. That's all I would say at the end. I didn't do a pitch or anything. I did one of those, and we got like 40 people to come to the first one. 40 business owners. I got 15 meetings just from that one talk that I did. And the first talk I did ever was awful, and I still got 15 meetings from it. Um, it was pretty. I mean, it wasn't awful, but it was pretty bad compared to how it could have been. I didn't really. I could have practiced a lot more and done a lot better.
Yeah.
But I got 15 meetings from that. I ended up landing the largest furniture store in our city from that one talk that I did.
When I was meeting with Carrie just this last week, I talked about kind of a monkey bar's approach to it. So this is what a monkey bar looks like. This little girl, she's going down this bar, and you don't go from this bar to this bar. You just go kind of one or two bars at a time, right? And some of the things that you used to do, Jake, to get clients, you may not do them anymore, but they got you where you are today.
Yeah, like I don't really go to as many networking events. I used to just do that too, go to networking events and meet people and see how I could help them. That was also a small way of getting client acquisition. I don't do that anymore, but
but you actually are going to
talks.
networking events. You're just going to bigger ones because you went to JV2 in Florida.
Now we're traveling to Orlando and Vegas
Yeah,
and things like that.
Vegas, exactly. So you're still doing it, but you're just doing it on a bigger scale now.
Yes, yeah. We're not doing it as much local, but we're still doing these kind of talks. Like we just had, so you can sign up for free to become a Google AdWords certified agency. And that's one thing we did. And they're actually letting all their partner programs do a live free webinar talk that they'll set up and host for you for all your clients or potential clients to come and listen. Like Google's doing that for these guys.
So how do you sign up for that program, Jake?
So it's done now, but they do this periodically throughout the year.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is sign up as a Google. I think if you just search in Google for like Google agency or Google partners.
Google partners right here.
Google.com/partners. You'll see that. Yeah, you can sign up as a Google partner for free.
And remember, everybody. Yeah, and if you're worried about pay-per-clicks, you've got a wonderful module from Mike Swanson in your members area that can show you how to do Google pay-per-clicks.
Yeah, and well, what we're using this for actually is to transition people into SEO after they see the talk for local businesses. So, so what Google is doing is a live webinar for all their Google partners, and we actually got for free. We did the same thing. We talked to the Chamber of Commerce. They gave us a room for free, and they sent out all the invites to everyone for us. And that's happening October 15th, our next one. And we already have like 30 business owners signed up. And some of them are for like huge multi-million-dollar businesses that are signed up.
Is there a place where people on this event can sign up to go and watch your talk?
It's actually going to be like a live streamed event. That's why they all have to come into the room. So it's not actually like a link to see the talk. It's a live stream event to come and see what's going on.
Got it.
But Google sets up the landing page and everything for you for people to sign up and all that stuff. They do like all the hard work. You just got to send people that page and they can sign up for it and then meet you at the location. And they even do the talk for you. So you don't even have to do the talk.
That's crazy.
Google has one of their local business owner or one of their local business consultants do the whole live webinar.
Yeah,
in person.
I actually my HVAC guy he actually gave me a Google Pen because he went to exactly one of these talks. And Google hires slick sales guys to go out and do this, and they're slick. So, they know what they're doing.
And they're pushing everyone to our agency. That's what's great. It's branded for us, and it's to our agency. So that's such an easy way to get people in the door too. You don't have to do really any of the work.
Let's get into pricing. This is, by the way, if everyone, if you want to give Jake another thank you, now's a great time for it. We've got about a half an hour to go. We're going to go into speed round here and get into pricing and follow up. But I don't know about you. I'm really enjoying myself. I hope you're really enjoying yourself. And you know, maybe now's a great time to jump in on the NHB team thread. And I'm just going to give, this is at the top of the NHB team thread. I'm just going to say, thank you, Jake. And I'm going to give a hashtag city on a hill. Because this is just such a great example. You know, OMG is a city on a hill. It's a place where friends come together in Providence. And right now, Jake is paying it forward in a huge way. And I think that people are really, really enjoying themselves based on the feedback. We've got just tons and tons of people on this event. So what I did was I went to the OMG team Facebook group here, and I just pushed this out right here. We got Gregory Ortiz, Dave McCormick jumped in. I'd love to see everybody. We have 125 people on this event. I've already posted, Gregory's already posted, and Dave's already posted. So I hope that we'll see another 123 now. Thank yous. Yep, Carrie Duke, Brian Planis, Chris Crowley. Yeah, this stuff matters. Again, Jake is just donating his time. He's coming on this event. Even if you're brand new and a lot of this stuff is kind of flying past your head, that's okay. Because again, what we talked about with vectors is everything is pulling. It's one of the extraordinary things about the design of OMG is that everything is pulling in the same direction. We're all a part of the same culture and we're all getting uplifted. Okay, so however you're participating, whatever you're doing is pulling you forward. And by the way, Jake's getting pulled by the same thing. So by your thank yous, by your acknowledgments, by your hashtag cities on a hill and so forth, then you're pulling him up and pulling yourself up. OMG is a city on a hill. It is a place where friends come together in Providence, and it's extraordinary. Are you logged into the Facebook thread so you can just see this extraordinary outpouring, Jake?
Yeah,
Does that feel terrible to you, or is it kind of nice?
No, it feels awesome. I just want to share as much information as I can.
Okay, well,
take my business. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, great. Well, let's get into this. And just so you guys know, I predict that a number that Jake is probably getting more aha moments from this than anybody else. So it really this whole pay it forward thing really works all together. Now let's talk pricing. So that furniture, the largest furniture client company comes to you, they're like, okay, how much is it going to cost? Or a fencing contractor comes up to you. What is your formula for pricing?
Yeah, so we actually changed everything recently for pricing, and it's kind of interesting because you're still working on, you're kind of always working on pricing. I feel like as this type of firm or an agency. And what we started out with was we wanted to show people like, here's kind of the ROI you'd get. I think we learned a lot of it from OMG. Like we look at Google AdWords, you know, give them a lower price, get a higher ROI than their pay-per-click would be, that kind of thing. A quick overview. And we just switched over recently to what's it worth it for us for a client to pay. So this is kind of a later mindset, I think, than a lot of people that are just starting out wouldn't have, and I didn't have. Because I started with doing that, like, hey, $500 a month or $1,000 a month would be, you know, we could give these guys a 10 times ROI type thing.
Yeah.
And we don't look at it like that anymore, actually. So I don't know if this goes against a lot of people's mindsets or not.
Well, and again, we talked about, this is one of the great things is we're talking about this monkey bar thing, because what got you to the point where you were in a position to be able to change your pricing was going probably like 25% or 40% of pay-per-click cost.
Yeah, and we actually don't even look at paper. We do a little, but we sat down and said, well, we don't want to take anyone under $1,500 a month. We won't do anything with anyone under $1,500 a month for us.
Right, and this is a recent changeover.
Yeah, and this was more of a recent.
So let's talk about what got you this position. What were you doing before? Like 20% of pay-per-click cost, 25%.
So we would sometimes do that for pay-per-click costs, but we actually, what I more looked at was, I would look at, you know, what's it going to cost me to get that person there?
Okay.
And we want to make a 50% margin, but also make it worthwhile to our clients. So that's kind of how we would look at these things. And sometimes that meant we would turn down clients that just didn't fit this method.
Sure.
And so we would look at something and say, if they're going to pay us $500 a month or $1,000 a month, let's say, it should only cost us $500 to $600 a month, about $500 a month to get them up there,
And now
out of our pocket.
now
But
how are
they
you
should
spending?
at least be.
Yeah, and how
Where
are you
should it?
how are you spending $500? Like, was that buying new PBNs or what was
Yeah,
that?
that was mainly buying all new PBNs for these newer clients. That was mainly buying all new PBNs, and also now we pay virtual assistants and things like that to do a lot of
Now,
the
I
work.
kind of want to point this out. You're a little bit not like obviously you bought that PBN, but you can use it for other clients, so you don't really have a hard cost.
Yeah,
Okay, I wanted to make sure that was clear.
yeah. So, well, we're doing things a little different now. Like we're making since we're getting into the higher end stuff, um, we're actually making like private PBNs for a lot of our bigger clients.
Got it.
So if we have a client paying us $5,000 a month, we're making a PBN just for them.
Okay, great. And that's
and
one of the things that you're advertising in your sales pitch?
Um, we also don't advertise that we use PBNs either.
Right. Okay, great. So this is
Yeah.
kind of a proprietary thing. And no, and this is, I think, very good to know. So
Yes.
so for a $5,000 client at this point, what's your cost on it?
Our cost is a lot more upfront because like we would be buying a PBN, so like we might spend $2,500 that first month on a $5,000 a month client, and then the consecutive months after that, we might only be spending maybe $500 a month on them to $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So now what you're doing is you're starting with like a 50% profit margin, but then you're going up to like a 90% profit margin.
Yeah, over time because we're not having to build as many PBNs for them. And we might have to pay like some of our VAs who are actually going out and making some other manual, things like setting up their social network and things like that you learn in OMG too. Their social profiles and that stuff. We have guys, we pay for that, so that's hard cost to us. Where if you're doing it yourself, you can just set those up yourself and there is no cost. So that's where our stuff's a little different, I think, now. But I can go back to where we first started. We were looking at pay-per-click costs, but now the way I'm selling it and the way my guys are selling it and what I would have did in the future is actually, I would say if we're going to, say I got that new furniture client. So I would start with, let's do some research. I'll find out like how many people are searching for those things. I would look at it more in a term of, instead of pay-per-click costs, which I don't bring to clients anymore, I come up and I say, look, we can get you 1,200 more eyeballs to your site every month. What's that worth to you guys? We think, and maybe give them a little rough estimate of conversions and stuff like that. And we can say, look, if we're getting you 1,200 new eyeballs, we can do that for $1,000 a month, something like that, and you could potentially make $10,000 off that. That's more of how we're looking at pricing now, instead of doing pay-per-click cost, like hard cost. If that makes sense.
It does. I'm doing something, pulling something out.
So we're looking at it more as what kind of reach can we increase them by? Because I started learning this more when I started working with TV and radio sales guys. They go, look, we're not pitching any of our small businesses that we pitch to. We're not pitching like we can get you a 5 times ROI, because we don't really know if we can or not. That kind of marketing. We're pitching you, if you put in $100 and you make $110, you made an ROI. That's a good investment. That's more of what they're looking at pitching it as. And that's kind of how we transitioned into our pitching. And it's worked very well for us.
Great. I'm pulling something up here. So I'm going to pull up the keyword planner here. So let's say this is Nashville. Let's do Nashville bail bonds. Good ideas. And then we'll click over to keyword ideas here. A little bit slow on the upload. So I went to the Google Keyword Planner and I signed into my account, and it's just taking some time to load. If you're wondering why this account is suspended, this doesn't really matter. I just don't do pay-per-clicks, and then I tried to send an ad to somebody's site, and their site was banned. I didn't realize it, so it's not really important. I don't know why I can't get this to go. This is taking like a long time. But anyways, hopefully you've seen the Google Keyword Planner tool. At some point, it's pretty intuitive to use. And you search for a term, and it's going to give you the relative traffic numbers for that site. Have a look here. Nashville Bell Bonds. Good ideas. I don't know why this is taking. Oh, there we go. All right, so keyword ideas. All right. All right. So this isn't a very high search term, although they're very. You can see they're very expensive pay-per-clicks. So this is a low volume, but super high dollar. You know, this is super competitive. Yeah. So altogether, we're probably looking at what I could say is, listen, if we go for bail bonds, Nashville, we've got 40, 70, 210, 260, 270, 280, 290, 300, 310, 220, 30, 40, like 400. I might say, look, I can get you 500 new eyeballs per month. What's that worth to you? And of course, I'm walking into the meeting knowing
I might not question them like, what's that worth to you? But we usually can figure out an average of what they make. You know, what their revenue would be per new person that comes in, you know, the door.
Right.
Or per new person that you can usually find that out just by searching averages online and stuff, you know, like average revenue per like furniture store and those kind of things, and divvy it up and just do some research and find that out.
Yep.
And usually that's how we would look at it. Like, look, if we can get you, you know, this many new eyeballs to your site, and then also 10% of those people calling you or you know, 10% of the people that actually come to the site or something like that. You know, first we would do the conversions of how the potential number of people that will actually click on the site, then the potential number of people that might contact them or walk in the door.
And so how would you figure that out?
So we would look at certain things like if you're number one in Google, usually you're going to be seeing, you might see anywhere from the numbers can vary a lot depending on the niche and kind of how you draw the ad. By ad, I mean what shows up in your site's title tags and description.
Yep.
So it can be anywhere from 25 to 40% if you're number one, you know. And we usually use the middle number, say like 30% of the clicks you might get.
Right.
If you're number one in Google.
So if it was 1,000 clicks for bail bonds, then you might say to yourself, I'm going to get them 300 eyeballs on their website.
Yeah, it would be something like that, and we'd say around 300, you know.
And then what do you do? Figure like a 20% conversion or something like that?
Yeah. So we look at that, but we don't really go into like super specific numbers like that. We like to know them, you know, but we like to more talk in generalization, because we like to say, look, we can get you, you know, you potentially in front of this many more people, these many more things, and this could be worth $10,000 a month to your business.
Right.
We can get you there for $1,000 a month, you know, that kind of thing.
Great.
And that's exactly what we look at.
All right, great. All right, so that was some great stuff on pricing. Let's talk about how you do follow-up. So now you've got a client. You've already hinted at it. High dollar client. At this point, you're looking to actually build them their own private blog network. What's the reasoning behind that?
The reasoning behind building their own private blog network is because now I don't like sharing as many links with other clients when we're doing higher end clients. But for follow-up, they're not going to really know what we're doing for PBNs. Also, a big thing that we're doing now is actually like real guest blog posting. So we are doing some outreach, but also some buying guest blog posts on like really high-end sites. It would be like Examiner and some real estate sites like or like findlaw.com. We can get articles on those now.
How much do those cost?
Each one of those is anywhere from depends on what you want to be on. It's anywhere from $150 to $300 a post, maybe.
Total or per month?
What?
Just once, just one time to get that post on that site. I mean, if you want something like Mashable, it's like $1,500 if you want to get like a post on Mashable or TechCrunch or something like that, with do follow links.
Yep.
But that's some stuff that we're doing for really higher end clients, and we will actually show them those links, those kind of links. Like, we got you this awesome article on, Mashable or whatever it is.
Right.
But what we mainly are showing them is kind of traffic conversions, or traffic that they're getting, increased traffic from organic search, those kind of things. And the biggest reporting tool that I use automatically now is actually Raven Tools. I don't know if you have used it at all, Mike, or seen it.
No, I haven't seen it.
So it will actually do automatic reporting for me, and that's what I use. It will send automatic reporting to all my clients every month. So I don't have to create reports for them every month. It'll just send it out for them every month.
Great, and you like these reports?
Yeah, you can actually customize them exactly to how you want them to show. So it's a drag and drop report template builder, and you hook them up with their Google Analytics. So you hook it up with the Google Analytics with Raven Tools, and it's automated a lot of our reporting, which is great. And then I have a lead sales guy who's the main guy I was talking to you now, that's coming on with me full time.
Yep.
He follows up with a lot of our big clients almost weekly. So like clients that are paying $5,000 a month for us, he's following up with them.
And he's motivated because he's making 20%. So he's like, rock and roll.
He's got to keep them on board.
Yeah. All right, great.
So he will send them, even if it's not like a detailed analytics report, he'll send them an email just touching base, like, hey, how's everything going with your guys' business, that kind of thing, to keep them in our minds.
All right, let's go. Let's turn to Q&A at this point. Let's turn to question and answer. And Jake, you can certainly see some of the questions that are rolling in here. I think this has obviously been an extremely popular event, and we've got lots and lots. Let's check how many thank yous and how much activity we've got on the Facebook page. 52 is pretty good. 52 is pretty good. Let's do another round of thank yous here. I'm going to give a hashtag pay it forward, because that's what Jake's doing right now. He's paying it forward. So if you're really inspired by what you're hearing and you've really appreciated it, then pay it forward. Put the word out that you're really enjoying yourself, and kind of direct that at Jake. I think that again, this is one of the keys to the OMG culture. Hopefully, as you listen to this, you can imagine yourself, making your first earnings report, even if it's your first $100 or your first $500 that you're making, or first $1,000 a month, and sending in your earnings report and being fired up about it, and taking it to the next level. Maybe you'll be on a webinar with me 10 months from now and reporting back on how you've 10 times your income. Very, very possible. Are there any questions that you're seeing in the question box that particularly speak to you, Jake?
So, I see Dave Keys put, are you using fewer PBNs, making them private to your client? Are you able to use... Oh, okay, I see what he's saying. Yeah, so I've been able to use fewer PBNs when making them private to some of my clients, because I'm actually backing those PBNs up with my tier 2 PBN, if that makes sense. That's going to be really advanced for a lot of people, but I figure David Keys can, he'll know.
Yeah.
So actually what I'm doing is I'm branding those first PBNs that are private to the clients as, so say it's a furniture store, it's only about, furniture or like home remodeling, things like that, would be the tier 1s. And then underneath the tier 2s are going to be my generic PBNs that are going to be, which I think you guys might talk about this, as you have your own terms for it, authority stacking and those kind of things.
Yeah.
Behind it would be like a contractor site, another PBN that would go to that first PBN, and that's mainly what I've seen make a big difference doing that.
Nice.
So I have been able to have less tier 1 to answer Dave Key's questions.
Great. All right. Did you have some more that you wanted to answer on?
I think I'm just oh, there's a lot here. Holy cow. Oh, someone asked about, telling clients about rankings in the beginning. And we definitely tell them it's going to take 3 months before they see a big difference in traffic. They're going to see a steady increase in traffic maybe, but before they see the big jumps, it's going to take at least 3 months, and that's what we tell clients to expect. Just so they know, we tell them up front. We don't say like, oh, within a month we can get you all this stuff.
Yeah.
Just so they have an idea. But there's a ton of questions, but I don't want to go over time here.
All right. Yeah, we are running up against the edge of things. Your questions can at this point probably spill over into Sunday Fun Day. So let's open up. I'm going to bring Gregory Ortiz live to help preview Sunday Fun Day. Now, first of all, if you're not in the OMG, I'll tell you the name of it so you can find it easily. The OMG Beginners Acceleration and Support Facebook group. If you're not already in that, go to facebook.com. Well, first of all, check and see if we're already friends because I have the 2 Facebook accounts. Here, I'll post really quickly on the other one. Oh, yeah, you can just see me right here. I'll give a hashtag boom, kind of bump things. So check this first Facebook account with a picture of me in the hat in it. See if we're already friends. If we are not, if we are friends, then just send me a private message and ask me to add you to the group if you're not already in the group. And if we're not friends on that account, friend me on this account because it's a new one that I set up. Once I accept you, message me and I'll put you in the OMG Beginners Acceleration and Support group. And also, if you don't already have the blueprint, email me at omg@omgmachines.com and ask to be added to the blueprint. Gregory Ortiz, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Could you give us a preview of Sunday Fun Day? This was the last week's thread. What went on during this thread, and what can we look forward to this week?
Well, one of my favorite things that went on, other than it being a normal Sunday Fun Day, where everyone just is asking questions on anything they may have relating to PBNs or anything else, especially my city guide, which I went over into detail of my own personal one. There was a lot of people at the end of the thread who kind of went about holding each other accountable. So I'm excited to see the results that came from that from last week. Most people all agreed that they're going to get started, they're going to take action, they're going to get their own city guide started, or they're going to get their own My City SEO guide started. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing what kind of results they may have had in the past week so far.
Okay, great. And the way Sunday Fun Day works is it is an all text Q&A. You'll ask questions and Gregory will answer them. And we very, very often have other aces from OMG jump in there. I've seen Dave Keys in there. I've seen Chris Marshall in there. I've seen Fletch in there answering questions. Scott Shack jumped in there a week or two ago. I oftentimes jump in there. So you'll have a new thread. Is the new thread already posted?
I'm actually typing it up right now.
Okay, so a new thread will appear, and that'll be this week's Sunday Fun Day thread. And to interact with it, you'll, and I'll show you this once it goes live, you'll ask your questions, and then Gregory or somebody else will try to answer them. And this is just a fun, free-for-all event. Sometimes we get 100 questions and answers going back and forth. We've had as many. Last week was the biggest one we've had, where we had 590 of them. So I think that people were kind of especially feeling fired up last week, and that's a wonderful thing. So as soon as that goes live, I'll let you know. And let me walk through the instructions for joining. So first of all, check and see if you're already in the group. It'll be called the OMG Beginners Acceleration and Support Group. If you're not in that group, you check in your groups. If you're not in that group, then look at me here, Mike Long, like hover over my name and see if we are already friends. If we are already friends on this account, then just send me a message and I'll add you to the group. If we are not friends on this account, then you're going to add me to my new account because I can't add more friends to this other account. I have too many friends already. So it's facebook.com/Icarus. You'll add me You go to this web address, add me as a friend. Once I accept you, message me, and I'll put you in the group. And again, if you don't already have the blueprint, then go to omg@omgmachines.com. Email me at omg@omgmachines.com, and I'll add you to the blueprint. I'm starting to get questions in now. Jake, what fun having you on this week. You were so awesome, and I know that everybody really, really enjoyed you just being so sharing, so caring, and paying it forward.
Yeah, it was great. I love it. I'm a big, like, I love teaching. Like that's a big thing that I love doing when I was, coaching and that kind of stuff. So I love hopping on these things and just sharing with people.
Great. I'm gonna type in.
Yeah, Jacob, and I wanted to personally thank you too. I mean, you're obviously you can never not stop learning. So just listening to some of the stuff you said, I learned a lot of things too. So I'm very excited about it. Looking forward to implementing some of them into my own personal business. So thanks for that.
That's great.
And
glad to hear from some of the experts.
We have Dave Keys has put the word out. Jake Tanner, official OMG badass. So that is very, very cool. Dave Keys. Dave, somebody who's had a huge amount of success with us. And so there you go. Jump in, give Jake your final thank you. And remember, we are starting to sell out for OMG Live Nashville 2014.
I can't wait till that begins.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. You'll go to omgmachines.com/live.php to get your golden ticket. omgmachines.com/live.php to get your golden ticket. I've got this brand new video I made up for you, 22 minutes, and there's some surprises in here. It's pretty fun. You can see Greg, the standing ovation that Greg Morrison got, the standing ovation that Jimmy Kelly got last year, the standing ovation that Russell and Sue got. Here's your golden ticket right here. We give you a rundown of what you're going to learn at the event. It's extraordinary this year. We're going to be focusing on big-ish sites like these city guide sites, bigger sites that are more powerful, more robust, but that actually are so efficient. They actually overall take, in many cases, less work to build. You'd be very surprised. And we've got some of the notes. We haven't explained everything that we're doing. You'll see it says redacted here in a number of places because it is secret enough that we're not even telling people everything that they're going to be learning. So you'll have to take it on faith, but it's a wall-to-wall training event. It's incredible. You get to have the city on a hill come live. And so this is where to join us and to get your golden tickets for OMG Live Nashville 2014 to get your best start heading into 2015. I want to thank Jake Tanner once again for coming live. This is obviously just again a classic OMG moment here. Just wonderful, wonderful sharing on this event. I appreciate that. Let me just check over and see if that Sunday Funday thread is posted. And here it is. So this is this week's Sunday Funday thread. Should probably post a picture in there, Gregory. Like maybe something. I don't know.
Got it.
Just so it's a little bit easier to spot. We'll be talking about city guide stuff and so forth. So I'm just going to give a hashtag boom here. And what you'll do is you'll ask your questions inside of this thread. This will become a running thread that will have dozens or 100 or even more. Hey, Christopher, I'll add you in a second. Dozens or even hundreds of questions and comments. It's very lively and enjoyable. It's rapid fire, and just a great experience. One of the pay it forward things that happens inside of OMG. So I want to thank everybody for jumping on this event. It's been a lot of fun. We're coming right up on the hour when Sunday Funday officially begins. So the second part of our OMG doubleheader is beginning now. If you have questions about anything going on, you missed something, you can email me at omg@omgmachines.com. My door's always open to you. I pray for you to have success every day. I care about you and I care about your success. I want to thank you for joining us, and I will see you inside of Sunday Funday. Jake, thanks one last time.
Thanks, guys. It was great.